Next is going to be questions from the audience. We'd like you to limit it to 30 seconds on your question. In other words, don't give us the question and the answer. And then we'll ask the responders no more than 2 minutes in the response, and we'll ask both the pro and the con to respond if they choose. So both sides will get that opportunity. In the meantime, my wife's going to walk around with the mic so you can hear you all. Kathy in the back has a question, and she'll be there in just a moment. Lauderdale will, and then Kathy will shoot us the question.
Thank you. This question is for Arthur. Arthur, I'd like you to explain to the audience why Issaquah and Redmond, which you talk about having a lot of commercial, have had significant financial difficulties and have to lay off parks, police, firefighters. Yet we're here tonight talking about a $25 million reserve that Sammamish has built over the years. And why we should model ourselves after those cities.
I'm not saying model yourself after those cities. What I am saying is that because they choose to overspend in a lot of other areas, we should also choose to overspend in a lot of areas. I recently had a developer come up and spoke. You know, the first developer I called, he had 2 projects that he wanted to build in this community that would be very good for the community. City Hall shut him down. He's now building those in Issaquah. So if we're saying we don't want any commercial development on here, the plateau, that's great. Why even entertain the thoughts of the town center? I'm a fiscal responsibility type person. I think if we're going to spend $25 million and give away land or have land that's going to be worth the value, we should be getting something back in return from a financial responsibility. And the idea that we have other private businesses willing to step up and say, okay, you build it, I'll give you 15% back, you know, some other things, it's just wrong. So I'm not saying necessarily don't build the community center. I think the way we're going about it is wrong. Did that answer your question, or no?
How about over the question?
Excuse me, we have another question.
What? No, get both sides. Both sides get a chance to answer. If you have what you'd like.
Who raised the hand, please?
I guess I'm a little bit confused because
Both sides that way. Excuse me.
I thought I heard Arthur say that we shouldn't build a community center because it might hurt private businesses, but now he's saying, I'm not saying don't do it, just don't do it that way. We might risk losing the Pine Lake Club and tennis on the plateau if this facility is built, but now he's saying we should get private business to come in and build the facility instead of partnering with the Y. So it seems that you're giving mixed messages that way. I'm also aware that the cities of Issaquah and Redmond, you stated that they have a much broader tax base and therefore more fiscally sound or financially sound than our city. They're not. I mean, we can ask our council members, but I believe it's very well known that Redmond and Issaquah and many other cities in our region and across the nation are suffering, some going through very difficult financial times, while we have been able to put together a significant reserve, and even spending $25 million of it will still have significant reserve to bolster us in the years to come.
Thank you, Jake. Next question then. Okay.
I was just wondering, addressing to the YMCA, what would be the dues for a family membership at this particular facility? And what would be a couple's due and a single's due?
I believe it's $1,200 a year for families, between $1,000 and $1,200.
So the way that our membership is structured for a single adult, it's $65 a month. For families, it could be for 2 adult families, that would be $107 a month. For 1 adult families is $83 a month. For seniors, it's $54 a month. For young adults or teens, it's $38 a month. And for youth, it's $32 a month.
Okay. I mean, it's similar to other facilities that we have up here, so there's not really a ton of cost savings for family to have a YMCA out there.
One of the really great opportunities and parts of a YMCA membership is that this membership is good for all the YMCAs and the YMCA of Greater Seattle. So you could be down in Auburn, you could be in Bothell, and your membership would allow you to get into all the YMCAs and the YMCA of Greater Seattle, as well as YMCAs across the country. And in
But
some places
Marcia,
in the
as
world.
we widely know, most people go to one facility, and it has to be within 5.5 miles of where they live. Otherwise, they don't use it. So that's to say that you're, worldwide.
Remember, you're asking the question, you're not answering it.
But I'm just saying, to throw that in, it's not.
So to answer that question, the way that many and the way that most people use their YMCA membership, your family could be living here, you could live here in the city of Sammamish. You may work in downtown Seattle, you may work in Bellevue, you may work in Tacoma. And so you as an adult, wherever you might be working, you could go to your Y in that location for lunch hour after work to play basketball. And your family could be participating in the Y here in Sammamish. So it could be for swim lessons, it could be for indoor soccer program, but you can see that just depending upon where you live doesn't necessarily mean that's the only YMCA that you're going to utilize.
Arthur has some comments.
I find it interesting on fees where, let's take Newcastle, one of the most successful operations, are paying the same fees we are, but the city there provided no funding. They waived mitigation fees, they waived permit fees, but the dollars to buy the land and build a facility was done by the YMCA. Here, we're putting up $25 million in doing this YMCA, and we're paying the same amount of money, which I find quite interesting.
Yeah, just a couple different things there. Hank, I want to come back to your comment about Arthur's comment, right? I think what he was trying, if I can clarify that. Simple fact is, if it goes forward from an advisory vote and the council says, yeah, we're going to do this, I think at that point in time, it probably needs to be opened up to competition because there are private enterprises here that may want to compete with the Y for this particular business. And the financial model may look different. I think that's the point he was addressing. So it's not just a one and done Y you're up and running, even though there may be an MOU with the Y, so be it. I think the council would be, it would be prudent for them to take a look at private enterprise and let somebody get gifted out.
Okay, just a reminder that a little later, you're going to have a chance to speak to the.
Got it, Aaron.
So then the other will speak to the questions that come from the audience. Do we have another question? Oh, yes.
Can I ask a question of the questioner? You seem to be implying, ma'am, that the fee structure for the Y is the same as other facilities. Are you saying that to join the Pine Lake Club or another fitness club is the same fee structure as the Y is proposing?
It's similar.
And she mentioned a teen membership, a youth membership. Can a teen join these fitness clubs by themselves? Can a youth join a fitness club by themselves?
And actually, we have, I do work for Columbia Fitness, just let me say that, but I chose that facility specifically because how they help the youth in our community. And I'm a trainer, and I have, certifications for strength and conditioning, especially for youth. And because I can train a youth for $10 an hour at Columbia Fitness, no one else matches that. They do not have to be a member in order to come in for $10 and get one-on-one training for me.
And a family membership, so family and dependent children is approximately $107 a month at Pine Lake and Columbia Fitness?
I think it's a little bit more. I think it's $125, 118.
Did you say something?
118. I said it's very similar. So there's like $9 difference or so, 9 to 10.
I believe we have a...
No, we're going to hear from you later. We're going to speak.
Aaron, you think this is going to get this out of control, did you?
Okay, now we have another question. Arthur.
I have a question that may come to your fuzzy math
numbers.
statement. And I've been waiting for somebody from the city, from either of you to ever tell me this, because I find the $25 million price tag on this community center to be inadequate because there is a land value to the property on which this will be built that was purchased by us, the taxpayers, when the community center land was acquired. But nowhere in the discussion is anybody telling me, in addition to the cost of the structure, how much have I, as a taxpayer, already paid for the land? So what is the real cost of the total package?
The city purchased the Kelvin property several years ago for approximately $3 million.
3.1.
3.1.
But now I'm going to speak for the other side. We are supposedly getting some land back on a 50-year lease that was bought for how much? From the Y, is that 1 point?
The cost of the land that we purchased was 1.375 from the Issaquah School District.
And is that subject to anything, we have to develop it in a certain time period or anything, or do we have a time up for 50
We
years?
have to have a plan, I believe the city has to have a plan developed for within 8 years of what they're gonna do with that land, and then it's leased to the city back for a while.
Okay, so if they don't, then we don't lose the
If they
land.
don't.
I just want to add, I do work for Columbia Fitness, but I'm a citizen of Sammamish, and I too have lived here for 17 years. So I just don't want you to think I'm an outsider, you know, coming in and stating my fact, but I'm a citizen too, and I'm concerned about this. And I'm also concerned that they're labeling it as an aquatic center instead of what it really is. I'm okay with an aquatic center. This is not an aquatic center. This is a duplication of services.
Anything to the question on the table, as far as the cost? I guess, was that adequately addressed?
The cost of the
Well,
construction?
This land cost?
One thing I would add to that is, in the original view for the facility up there was gonna be some traffic modifications done, right? And I believe those costs were 5, 8 million, 4 million. It was 4 million for the traffic circles on 228 that was gonna be looked at to handle traffic volume in around there. I think that's been dropped from the plan, but if it went forward, why did the city think we needed to do that originally and not now, right? So I think there's just some other things that may come up post-install, so to say, that may get you.
I'll just add that the size of the facility was dropped by approximately a third in square footage. Perhaps the traffic mitigation isn't necessary.
Okay, let's move to another question.
Another question.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to know, the Y has its own land, but yet it hasn't built on it. Why haven't you built on it? You could have done that a long time ago. And why does the city of Sammamish only get a crummy lease on the land? And why aren't we getting the land outright? What's the current market of the value of the land? I mean, if you gave $25 million to Columbia Athletic Club, they could lower memberships well below the Y.
30 years.
That's it.
Why are you giving away $25 million
That's the question.
for no tangible
30
benefit?
seconds. You want to, we should probably let the mic.
Please use the microphone. We're not hearing you back here, any of the panel, please.
Yeah, just quickly that probably about 6-7 years ago, the YMCA embarked on a capital campaign to raise funds to build 4 facilities here in the greater Seattle area. And about the time that the recession hit in 2009, the Sammamish facility was on the docket to be built as part of that larger campaign. When the economy turned and fundraising became more difficult, because the Y is a charity, we do not receive funds from any government agency to operate our facilities, to put together this project. At that point, really was prohibitive. That raising $50 million in a capital gifts at that time was next to impossible. So we had to postpone the Sammamish project. Any project that we build, we have to raise the money to build that. So that's why we haven't built on our property. The intent was that we would build it on that site. And so it became clear that we needed to find a partner as well. And so it really was kind of a no-brainer, if you will, that a partnership with the city of Sammamish made sense. We did partner with the city of Snoqualmie in a similar sort of joint venture, a much smaller project, where the city had approximately $5 million. The Y contributed $1 million to that project for fixtures and furniture, and we also received a small grant from the state of Washington. So the model has been something that has been successful, and we think that moving forward that it makes sense as good stewards of everyone's dollars that their partnership really does make a lot of sense. As it relates to our property, that we did purchase that for $1.375, and we're going to raise $5 million. That's a significant amount of money. That's not easy dollars to raise. So I guess from a perspective of being fiscally responsible and partnership, that we feel like we're moving in the right direction with the city of Sammamish.
Yes, Artie.
We provided one suggestion of how to proceed ahead and build a Pro Community Center YMCA, and yet the Y does own it. And in fact, building the structure they wanted, not what the city wanted, but building a structure that they would have preferred would not have been 60,000 square feet. If I read the paper and I got it correctly, they were talking about something a little smaller. We had a smaller community here, a little smaller than Newcastle. So to build what they wanted that would service this community and probably allow both the private clubs and public clubs to go on their land. I'm not, given from what people have told me, construction and everything, I don't have any wetlands. We're talking something half of what we have to build in town center. They don't have the same parking lot issues that they're going to have to deal with. They don't have the same stormwater or some of these sensitive areas that I understand are not as tough. So here I am sitting back and going, okay, we're going to build something at 30 or 35 million that potentially can put private business out of business, or we could build something for 15. Why are we doing the 30 or 35 million? I hope someone can answer that one for me.
Well, I'd like to say that I believe that the current facility is also larger than the Y wanted. The city has a paucity of meeting room space. If we had another 30 people, where would we meet tonight? We can't meet in City Hall because this is it's not appropriate for that.
We meet next door.
But I think as many of you know who hold meetings, we need meeting spaces. So the city asked for more meeting spaces, more meeting rooms in this facility. So that's one of the reasons that it's not strictly a Y. It's more than a Y. It is a community facility that has various amenities that the city specifically asked to be added.
Yes,
I just want to make a comment about a
Please use your
misconception.
microphone. Thank you.
A misconception of what this facility is. It's infrastructure. The people in the town center are looking for infrastructure to try and help spur the town center and development within the town center. The town center is going to have the highest density of population in the city of Sammamish. There are rules that the city put in place, TDRs. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, but they're transfer of development rights. The city is looking to let the landowners in the town center buy development rights from other places in the city and put it into the center of our city so that we can have higher density. This infrastructure that we're talking about, this $25 million that's going to be invested, is going to be for all the kids that don't have a park to play in, that don't have a place to go in, that are going to be living in the town center. It's going to service that area. Now that's the kids that directly live in that area. Higher density housing, it's going to be retired people that are going to be living there that would be using the Y facility. The parking that is going to be adjacent to this particular facility is something that not only can be used by the density of housing in the town center, but also if you look at the 4th of July, the events that the city puts on right now, we have a parking problem in the town center. And this particular facility will also help alleviate some of the parking problems. So we have a good for the community, a facility and a nonprofit organization that's going to come in and help build a whole healthy community. And the town center hopefully, will actually be spurred in development, because everybody that owns property there will make money off the increased value of
Thank you,
that
Bob.
property.
That's all the questions for right now, but if you notice on the agenda, we have another question period. We'll be getting there.